Hey everyone, it's David. I am responding to our video blog post requirement for this week. After scoring myself on the leadership questionnaire, I'm not too surprised that I scored, let's see, my score was a 26 that makes me in the very high range for interpersonal skill. Administrative was next. I got a 21 in that, which means I'm in the high end. And then, not too surprisingly, in the conceptual area, I only scored a 16, which means I'm in the moderate range. I do work in behavioral health, so it is not a surprise to me that I rely more on people skills than perhaps most other managers would do. And I'm glad for that too. It works very well in my organization because ultimately that's what we're all doing is helping folks that are in behavioral health crisis. And, interpersonal skills are one of the biggest nursing skill sets that I use when I'm working on a regular basis. I often have to talk people down just using my therapeutic communication. And so I don't doubt that in the management area, I would do the same thing. Our organization is structured in a vertical organization module area. Our nurse manager is responsible for all of the nurses in the emergency department, as well as the psychiatric techs that work for us. They function as CNAs. For the most part, they're there in the patient milieu, taking care of everyone. We also work in our hospital with pretty heavily with social workers who are there in the emergency department serving our patients. Obviously, physicians too. We work very closely with psychiatrists, a team of them that are working. We often have 4 or 5 or 6 psychiatrists that are working at one time. And generally, we have about 10 nurses that are working during any shift during the day, and also 3 to 4 social workers. At the same time, we also consult very heavily with members of our pharmacy. Our pharmacist is often there, especially in emergent situations where we need to have a lot of help and quick decisions need to be made. Often our pharmacy team is going to be there too to kind of help the doctors and help us with medications. Um, and, my interpersonal skills, my really come to play and really help out, I think, a great deal in that situation. I'm often the charge nurse, which means that I am coordinating the effects, the work of a large group of people. And, when we call a code, which means please, we need folks in our department from other departments, we often are, working with 20 or 30 people directing them if a couple of things happen to be going on at the same time. And I really enjoy the administrative part of that, believe it or not, doing the paperwork that's all required for things like, the restraints documentation, as well as making sure all medications are documented and the effects of those are documented well. And my interpersonal skills obviously come into play with, my relationships with other departments. I do enjoy being the charge nurse, but at that same time, we often have to float our people to other units, and so staffing, which they wanted us to talk about, is a big part of often a part of my days. I not only have to consider safety and appropriate functioning for our department, but I also have to work with the house supervisor who will take into consideration the entire hospital and how it is functioning and how many folks are there, and who's in a critical need and who needs staff. And so we often have to share resources. And it's a big part of nursing is that it's a people organization, it's a people industry, and people are needed. And oftentimes life happens and people aren't going to be there, and so we have to learn how to share staff. Mostly I do that because, over time, people begin to trust decisions that I make, and they are willing to work with me. So that if I say that I can't spare anyone, generally speaking, they know that I'm telling the truth and that I have history backing me up, saying that I do stand by my word and I mean what I say. So I think that helps me be an effective leader as a charge nurse already. Um, I really like that structure a lot. I like knowing that our social work team is there, and I have a relationship with the manager of all the social workers. I have a relationship with the pharmacist. I have a relationship with the registration staff. I know how to work interpersonal relationships with people, and so I think that really helps me a great deal. The article that I chose was about the ethics of interprofessional collaboration, which I thought was kind of an interesting take on it because we think about interprofessional collaboration and how important it is, but we have to realize that we're all, because of the very nature of our professions, we're all coming to it from different angles. A doctor, a physician who's directing patient care has a different legal responsibility and a different code of ethics than I as a nurse do. And that's same said for a social worker and for a pharmacist and a registrar and someone from utilization review. I have to respect that we're all coming from different places, but I also have to respect in that collaboration effort that we are all going to work with each other and that we're all doing what we need to do to provide the very absolute best in patient care. So, I begrudgingly say that I don't want to be in management, but I realize as I'm moving forward in this class that by the very nature of being a charge nurse and just by the very nature of the person that I am, that, I use management skills all the time. And I am glad that I had an opportunity to share this with y'all, and I hope you find it interesting. Thanks.